Lee Man-ho has finally spoken, and what he revealed has left fans around the world in absolute disbelief. Before we dive into the heartbreaking and emotional confession that has taken over headlines, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the latest updates about your favorite stars. For years, Lee Man-ho has been one of South Korea's most beloved actors, admired not only for his undeniable talent and iconic roles but also for his mysterious, reserved demeanor. From his explosive rise to fame through Boys Over Flowers to becoming a global ambassador of Hallyu, he has remained a towering figure in the entertainment world. And yet, for all his fame and fortune, there has always been something quietly aching behind his smile, something fans couldn't quite put their finger on. Until now. What started as a simple interview meant to promote his upcoming project took a sudden, emotional turn. Seated in a quiet studio with only a few cameras rolling and soft lighting casting gentle shadows on his face, Lee Man-ho unexpectedly let down his guard. His voice, usually strong and steady, trembled slightly as he looked into the lens, not at the interviewer, not at the crew, but directly at his fans, as though speaking to each one of them personally. "I've never said this before," he began, pausing as he gathered his thoughts. "Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't know if I could." Those words alone sent a ripple of emotion through viewers. The comment section began flooding with anxious questions. What is he talking about? Is he okay? Is this about his past relationship? His health? No one knew what to expect. And then, he dropped the truth. Lee Man-ho spoke about the immense pressure he's carried ever since stepping into the spotlight. "From the outside," he said, "it looked like I had it all. Fame, success, fans, love. But inside, I felt like I was slowly losing myself." He went on to describe how, even during the peak of his career, he struggled with anxiety and loneliness. Fans would scream his name at airports, brands would line up for his endorsement, and dramas would break ratings records because of him. But at night, when the cameras were off and the crowds disappeared, he felt completely alone. "There were nights when I would sit in my apartment in complete silence," he said, "asking myself if all of this was really worth it." The confession was not just a moment of personal vulnerability, it was a cry for understanding. He admitted that for a long time, he had buried his real emotions under the weight of responsibility. He had trained himself to smile for the cameras, to say the right things during interviews, to be the perfect idol that everyone expected. But behind closed doors, he was dealing with internal battles that he never allowed the public to see. "I battled with depression," he said plainly. "There were times when I couldn't get out of bed. I didn't want to see anyone. I felt like I had no control over my own life." For fans who had only seen his polished, charismatic image, the words were devastating. This was not the confident Gu Junpyo from Boys Over Flowers, or the powerful emperor from The King, Eternal Monarch. This was a man who had been carrying pain in silence, hidden behind award shows and glamorous red carpet appearances. Lee Man-ho's confession didn't stop there. He addressed the rumors that had haunted him for years, about his relationships, his mental health, and even the moments when he disappeared from the spotlight. "There were so many things I couldn't clarify at the time," he said. "I was scared that the truth would only make things worse." He admitted that his breakup with Suzy Bae was more painful than the media ever let on. "We were two people in love, but the world was always watching. Every moment we shared was picked apart. And eventually, it became too much." He explained that despite the love they had, their relationship couldn't survive the intense scrutiny of fame and the lack of privacy. "She was someone very dear to me, and I hurt for a long time after we ended." There was a long silence before he continued. "I've also been afraid to love again. I always wondered if any relationship I had would ever truly be mine, or if it would belong to the public." His honesty was raw, and his vulnerability was something rarely seen in such a private and reserved star. But perhaps the most heartbreaking part of his confession came when he spoke about the fear of disappointing his fans. "You all gave me everything," he said, eyes glistening with tears. "And I never wanted to let you down. But I also couldn't keep pretending to be someone I wasn't." He described how over the years, he developed a mask to survive the pressures of the industry. A mask that smiled even when he felt like breaking down. A mask that answered questions politely even when he was mentally and emotionally exhausted. But now, he said softly, "I want to take that mask off." Fans from all over the world began pouring out messages of love and support. Twitter, Instagram, and online forums were filled with hashtags like #WeLoveYou Lee Min-ho and #ThankYou for speaking out. People shared their own stories of battling depression and thanked him for giving them the courage to be honest about their feelings. And then, as though lifting a weight off his chest, he shared one last truth: he had been in therapy for the past 2 years. "It was hard to admit I needed help," he said. "But it saved me. It gave me a way to understand myself again." He emphasized how important it is to seek help, especially for those who feel like they need to be strong all the time. "Even the strongest people break," he said. "And now, I want to be honest with you, not just as an actor, but as a person." As the interview came to a close, Lee Min-ho made a quiet promise. "I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever be able to live a life completely free of pressure. But I want to try. I want to live truthfully. And I hope you'll walk with me on that journey." It was a moment that no one expected, and yet, it was exactly what so many people needed to hear. In a world where celebrities are often expected to be flawless, Lee Min-ho reminded everyone that behind every perfect photo and red carpet moment is a human being with real emotions, struggles, and stories. Since the release of the interview, there's been an overwhelming wave of compassion, not only from fans, but also from fellow celebrities who applauded his bravery. Actors, musicians, and public figures shared the video and expressed their support, noting how rare and important it is for someone of his status to open up about mental health and emotional hardship. More than just a confession, Lee Min-ho's words sparked a broader conversation. Fans began organizing campaigns to raise awareness about depression and mental health in South Korea, a country where such topics are often kept in the shadows. Support groups were created online, inspired by the courage he showed. What Lee Min-ho did wasn't just a moment of honesty, it was a breakthrough. A step toward breaking the stigma. A bridge between a global superstar and the millions of fans who now see him not just as an icon, but as a deeply human soul. This moment may very well redefine Lee Min-ho's legacy. Not just as an actor, but as a voice for empathy, healing, and truth. And while the world will always remember his unforgettable roles and his charming presence, they will now also remember the day he chose to be vulnerable, and how that one choice helped thousands feel less alone. So if you're watching this and feeling something stir within you, let this be a sign. Whether you're struggling with your own silent battles or just needing someone to understand, know that you're not alone. Even someone as seemingly perfect as Lee Min-ho has walked through darkness. And if he can come out stronger, so can you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so that more people can hear his truth. Let's continue to support Lee Min-ho not just as a celebrity, but as a fellow human being who bravely showed us that even stars can have shadows.